Guys, we are back. We are back to film the next round of anchor tests. We are currently in our super secret undisclosed location for these tests, and we got a lot of feedback from the last round of testing that we did. We got some new players this time, and hopefully this will give you a little bit more information to do an anchor choice and for what's best for your ski. So here, let's get right down to it. Another thing I wanted to add, which is this is our second round. So I'm gonna be referring back to our first video that we did with the different anchors. And if you want, you can go ahead and look back at that video now before we start this video. I'll leave the link in the description below. But I will be referring back to that video pretty often, because we're going to be testing a lot of the same anchors, but under more fair conditions, let's just say that. So yeah, if you want, go ahead and look back at that first video that I did, and this will be a good second round to capitalize on top of that video. So just like last time, I have a come along rigged up to a tree, which goes to a scale, which will be measuring what the hold strength is of each anchor, and that goes to basically the anchor line with a bungee on the end, just so I know when the anchors actually pull from the sand, such as the sand spikes. For the actual anchor tests themselves, the solid anchors, I will be removing the bungee and just using the line, and that will give me a good way to see when the anchor is actually dragging. That'll be our test for that. So this is our setup, and we'll get right down into the first anchor. So the first anchor that we're going to do is the Wave RX Sand Spike. Now, in the first video, I did do this red one here, which is quite a bit smaller than their silver one. And I got a lot of feedback saying that, oh, the red one is not the same size as the Super Rack or the Shorelock. So Wave RX went ahead and sent me their bigger silver spike to kind of be more of a comparison. Instead of this red one. This red one still put up some decent numbers, but we're going to test out this silver one and see what kind of numbers it puts up with compared to the larger Super Rack and the larger Shorelock. So let's go ahead and get this thing rigged up and see what kind of numbers it does. All right, we got the first Wave RX spike all set up. This is going to our scale, which is right now holding about 5 pounds. That's purely due to the strength of the bungee. The bungee is keeping everything nice and tight right now. And so now let's go ahead and start cranking and see what we get. Bungee is still starting to stretch. And I'm getting 12, 14. No, I saw 20s. Oh, we're definitely in there now. And 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. 80s, 90s, Saw triple digits there. Oh, and it just pulled. So we'll go back and look at the footage, see exactly what the highest was. So let's see here. Yep, she's pulled out, and I did see just a flash of 100 and something, so we'll go back and take a look and see what this one popped up. Alright, so our next anchor, the anchor spike that we're going to do is we're going to revisit the super rack. I got a lot of responses back saying that you know, it was the biggest of all of them, and you know, so I just wanted to show you the comparison between the Wave RX and the super rack. They're almost identical. The Wave RX is a little bit slender compared to the super rack. Super rack is a little wider. Both made out of aluminum. But we're going to go ahead and revisit this one, even though I did do the super rack anchor in the first video. I'll go ahead and I'll redo it this time, seeing how this is more of a fair size comparison. Let's just say it that way. So I'll go ahead and get this one rigged up, and we'll see how it does on the second go around. Okay, so we got the super rack all rigged up, and we are currently showing 8 pounds due to the bungee. So let's go ahead and start cranking on this one and see where we go. Our 20s, 30s, 40s. So spit of 50, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. Oh, flash of 100. Solid 100s, 120, 30, shit. Oh, and it just pulled. Okay. So I did see like 130 something or other, just a flash of it, but let's see. Yep, the anchor is pulled. So we'll go back, we'll look at the footage, see what it spiked at, and move on to the next. Alright, so just like the super rack, this is the Shorelock anchor, and it's bigger than the smaller red Wave RX. So the silver is more comparable to the Shorelock anchor, and the Shorelock anchor is one of the anchors that I did in the first video. So we're gonna redo that test today and see what kind of numbers it brings up. But it is a more fair size comparison test with the Wave RX. Okay, we got the Shorelock all rigged up, and let's see what we're holding. Got 6 pounds that we're holding just from the bungee. Let's just go ahead and start cranking on the come along and see what she is. All right, we're in the 20s, 30s, 40s. 60s, I think I saw. Oh, and it just pulled. So I think it was like somewhere in the 60s that this anchor pulled at. Let's go back and take a look. And yep, it pulled up. So yeah, we'll go back, take a look at the footage, and see what this one brought up. Okay, we're all done with the sand spikes. Now we're going to move on to the actual anchors, and the first one we're going to do is the Blue Cooper, which that one was also done in the first video. We've also got a newcomer, which is a grappling hook style anchor. Those are pretty popular with newbie riders. A lot of companies sell them. They're you can find them everywhere. Walmart, Bass Pro Shop, even Sea-Doo sells that style of anchor. And then we're going to do the Sand Shark Jaws. We did that one in the first video, but just to show it again, we'll do it in this video. And then lastly, we're going to do the brand new Wave RX Triangle Tri-Anchor. We did the bigger Tri-Anchor in the first video, but this one this is the smaller version that fits in your ski just a little bit better. And here I'll show you some comparisons to the size between the larger Wave RX Tri-Anchor and the smaller Wave RX Tri-Anchor. The larger one is on the right, the smaller one is on the left. As you can see, it is quite a bit smaller. Both are made out of stainless steel and have pretty much identical designs. But we'll see what the smaller one, what kind of numbers the smaller one will put up. Okay, first up is the Blue Cooper. Now with the Blue Cooper, when you buy these, it comes with just the anchor itself. You need to get chain that goes along with it. Now it's recommended anywhere 3 to 5 feet. I found that 3 feet is just a little bit too short. I have 4 feet of stainless steel on this one, and that goes to just a regular dock line or anchor line. But it does need to have the chain. It will not work without the chain. The chain's what keeps it planted to the bottom. So we'll go ahead and rig this one and see what kind of numbers it brings. All right, we got the Blue Cooper all rigged up. She's nice and set. And let's see here, we are currently reading 6-7 pounds, just keeping things nice and tight. So let's go ahead and start cranking and see where this anchor drags at. In the 20s, 30s, 30s, still in the 30s. I think I feel it dragging. It's not getting any higher. So we're currently, saw 33. Yeah, 33. Looks like that's basically where we're at for this anchor. It's just currently dragging. And we'll come back here to the look-see. And well, I can't see it anymore. So it tells me it's gone deeper into the sand. Let's see. I'll give it a couple more cranks just to see. But I honestly think it's just dragging. Let's see. 36. Yeah, she's just dragging. Okay, so it looks like this one had roughly about mid-30s drag strength. Okay, next up is the grappling hook style anchor. Now I'm going to show you how this one works. Basically, it has this bottom piece here that keeps the actual hook parts, the grappling hook parts, stowed. So what we have to do is we have to flip this. I'm going to try and do this one-handed. Flip it over and then it drops down, okay? You let the grappling hooks come out, then that piece that we just turned goes back, and then it rotates so it can be locked. Now they don't come down. So this is meant to go out and hook into the sand and set. Now, like I said, a lot of newbies use these just because they're very readily available. However, most people don't use these, and I'm about to show you the reason why. So let's go ahead and rig this one up. I'm going to show you why not a lot of people use these. Okay, so I've thrown out the grappling hook style anchor, and I'm going to show you why these are not the best anchors. So very similar to the sand shark jaws, it will not set. So I threw it out and I'm literally just pulling back. All it does is it just drags with very, very minimal effort. Just drag. I'll show again. I will go ahead and I will throw it out. All right. I'm gonna give it a couple tugs, try and get it to set, and then I'm gonna pull, and oh my goodness, it's just, I really wish I could just show how easy this is. Just, I mean, it just drags. This is exactly the same thing that the sand shark jaws anchor does. It just drags. It never actually sets. So I don't know how to show this. I mean, I'm hoping you guys are seeing this, but like I said, it just doesn't want to set. Maybe some chain might help, but I kind of doubt it, because it seems like it just doesn't have that staying power. So, but I'm gonna go out and I'm basically gonna throw it out there, and I'm gonna stand on it, bury it as best I can. That way I can get some tension on it and see what kind of numbers it'll pull. But for anchors, you should not have to do that. You should just be able to throw them out and forget about them. So, well, we'll see. So once again, like I said, I'm gonna go ahead and rig this one up and see what kind of numbers we can get. Alright, I've got the grappling hook style anchor all buried. I've stood on it, kicked sand on it, got it in the ground as best as I possibly could. Got it rigged up, and we are currently showing, once at that standard, 6-7 pounds, just to keep things tight. So let's go ahead and crank and see where it starts to drag at. About 10 pounds ish. Oh, that looks good. Sorry, technical difficulties trying to do this thing one-handed. All right, now we're back. All right, we got 14, 16, 20 pounds. And 30s. Yeah, I think we're dragging now, because I haven't seen anything past the 30s. And I can't even get it into the 20s now. Yep, she's 100% dragging. Okay, so as you can see, it was a real pain in the butt to get it to set, which is not possible, and all it does is drag. All it did, you know, once I got past that 30 mark, it just dragged, and it wasn't even holding 20 pounds after it started dragging. So not the best anchor to be using for your PWC. All right, next up is the Jaws anchor. This is another anchor that we did in the first video. At first glance, it looks like it would work really well because it has these big teeth that no matter how it lands, it should dig in. But come to find out, just like the grappling hook anchor, it does nothing but drag. Could not get it to set in any way, shape, or form, but I will go ahead and I will show this anchor again. So once again, we just toss it out, come back, and you can tell it's landed upright. Okay, totally landed upright. I mean, it really doesn't matter which way it lands, but trying to get it to set, it just does not set. I just pull it and drag. That's all it does, is it just sits there and drags. Yeah, the only way I was able to get numbers on this anchor last time was to stand on it and bury it and everything else, but that's all it does. It just sits there and drags. So just to show again, I'll toss it out. And I will, with just a minimalist bit of effort, I mean, it's just one finger, and it's just pull, and it just drags. That's all it does. So I would love to know how people get this thing to set, because I've seen videos, people swear by them, and I'm calling BS on that, because I just don't see how this anchor sets. But just for the sake of this video and trying to get some numbers, I will go ahead and I'll toss it out and go stand on it, go bury it, just like I did with the grappling hook anchor. And we'll try and get some numbers today on it, just for comparison to all the other anchors that we're doing. All right, so now that we got the sand shark jaws, it's in there, it's set the best that it possibly can be, stood on it, kicked sand on it, buried it, and let's see here, we're currently reading 9 pounds-ish. So let's go ahead and see what its drag strength is. And problems. Okay, we're 20s, 30s, 40s. And it's dragging. I can feel it. And it looks like the drag on it is just touching 20 pounds, if that. Nope, not even if that. All right. So that was it. You know, so with it buried, you know, 40-ish pounds, and now it's just sitting there dragging along. So I give up on this anchor. Sorry for the people that have bought it, but there are much better anchors than this one. All right, next up we got the Wave RX tri-anchor, and this is the smaller one. This is the one that's kind of more suited for PWCs. Their other one is a little bit bigger, probably more suited towards things like the switch and you know, smaller boats. However, this one is, you know, perfect size for the PWC. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and toss this one out and get some numbers on it. All right, so right off the bat, just like the larger Wave RX tri-anchor, I mean, as soon as you throw it out, it like immediately sets. Just a couple little tugs and it's in there. I mean, there is no doubt that that anchor has set. I can actually put some weight on it, and yeah, it ain't going anywhere. I don't know best way to show this, but that anchor is in, it's set, not going anywhere. And that's the way an anchor should be. You should just be able to toss it out and forget about it. So once again, I was not surprised with this, because that's exactly how the larger Wave RX tri-anchor acted. So smaller one does the exact same thing. Toss it and forget it. So we'll go ahead and rig it up and see what kind of numbers we get. Okay, we got the Wave RX tri-anchor, the smaller one, all set up. It's set, rigged up, ready to go. And let's see what we got here. We got, looks like about 14 pounds it's holding right now. So let's go ahead and crank on this thing and see what we get. 30s. And it feels like it might be dragging. Still in the 30s though. Still holding 20-30 pounds. So yeah, it's currently dragging. But I will say, out of all the ones we've tested so far, for it to drag and still hold 20-30 pounds, that's actually not bad. So let's come back, take a look, see. And yeah, she's dragging. You can see the drag marks from where it was dragging. All right, so that was the Wave RX tri-anchor. All right, guys, so here is the review part of the video. Let me first say that I am not paid by any of these companies. I am simply here just reviewing and testing every single one of these anchors to see how well they do. This is just my opinion. You guys take the information and do what you want. However, what we'll do is we'll start off with all the sand spikes. And coming over here to this first one, this is pretty much like a dog leash type anchor. It's advertised to basically newbies that don't know anything about anchors. Does it work? Yeah, it does. Does it work well? In my opinion, not so much. There are much better options and for cheaper. But like I said, it is advertised for newbies. I'll even show you the advertisement. But it does come with a line, and it comes with a carrying bag that you can stuff it all in. It's a very basic line, cheap, you know. Like I said, it works, but there's better options. Now we go up to the umbrella holders. The umbrella holders, once again, do they work? Yeah, and for cheap. I only tested one one, which was this center one right here. It actually put up some decent numbers, better than what I thought it would. And then I found these others. I found that one, and then I found that one. And I just did some off-camera testing, and come to find out, the more spirals you have on these, the better holding power that you have. So I tested this one, only had just a couple spirals, but it did work. And this one, you know, has a couple more spirals as well. So they did put up just slightly higher numbers. They're cheap. You can find them at Walmart. They're plastic, so they don't bang up your ski, but you know, once again, there are better options out there. And you have the Sand Shark, which is basically just a big version of the umbrella holder. You know, it's built exactly the same. It has a screw in the bottom just like the others, but you know, in my opinion, it's too big. I mean, if you're seriously worried about getting your hands wet while trying to put in a spike, okay. But it takes up a lot of room in the ski. It does come apart into 3 different sections, but trying to get them to get back together, because they do clip together using these right here, but you get a little bit of sand in there and they're impossible to get together or take apart. You know, everybody said, oh, you're not supposed to tie up to the top, even though there is a hole there where apparently you would tie to the top. I'm guessing. But everybody says tie to the bottom, which, okay, you're gonna be getting wet anyway, so why not use something a lot cheaper? And then we'll go on to the metal sand spikes. The metal sand spike, first one is the Shore Lock. It's a different design, I will give it that. You know, it does work. It puts up some respectable numbers, but it's big, it's beefy, and you know, nothing against Shore Lock. I love Shore Lock. Shore Lock is great, but I think this needs to be a redesign. I'm not sure about that big blade. I don't think it's really doing a whole lot, just based on other testing that I've done. However, you know, does it work? 100%, yes it does. Does it throw up numbers like some of the others? Like I said, it could use a redesign. So, but it's absolutely a very good choice if that's what you want to go with. Made of all aluminum. So, you know, just be careful when you put it in your ski. You know, it might bang around a little bit. Same thing with the Super Rack. Now, the Super Rack is also all aluminum, a little bit smaller, but overall, same, I guess, height-wise, it's about the same. But this one actually put up some decent numbers. It's just the design. It's all on how an anchor is designed. So this one actually did throw up some decent numbers, and I've seen it used. I mean, a lot of people use that anchor, and it's proven it works. It works well. Then we go on to the Wave RX. In the Wave RX, they have 2 different ones. They have their silver, which is basically the same size as these other 2. So it's a little bit fairer test this time to compare as far as numbers wise. But it is all aluminum. It is smaller, just in diameter wise. It's smaller. But like I said, it works. It works great. Oh, the other great thing that comes with these Wave RX sand spikes is it comes with a mounting system where you can mount it inside the ski and not have it flop around and bang up the inside of your ski. So, and it comes with it. So, the smaller one, it works just as well. A little bit lesser on the numbers, obviously, just due to size, but for the size of this anchor, my God, it puts up some impressive numbers. You know, it's identical to the silver, just smaller package. So it does work great. And now we'll get into the actual anchors themselves. Now, I'll start off with Sand Shark. We all saw, and I've tested it many times, this anchor, for whatever reason, will not set. Whenever it comes in, it hits, and then it just wants to sit there and drag. That's all it does. It just sits there and drags. It's very similar to this grappling style anchor. Once again, this one will hit in and it just sits there and it'll just drag and drag right along. It never actually sets or gets in there. The Sand Shark is all plastic. It's got a little bit of weight to it, you know, both in the handle and in the sides here. But overall, you know, it just doesn't work. You're supposed to be able, for an anchor, supposed to be able to drop it and leave it. These do not. Especially, you know, this one, the grappling style, these are advertised to newbies as well because they just don't know. You can find them everywhere, Walmart, wherever. But they just don't work, you know. I mean, you have to really put some weight into it, bury it, and do all kinds of stuff for these anchors to work. And even then, when I say work, that's a loose work. It barely works. Next would be the Blue Cooper. We all know about the Blue Cooper. The Blue Coopers are awesome. They do work. It is a true drop it and leave it type anchor, but when you buy the anchor, you do have to buy the chain and a line to go with it. But when this anchor, like I said, you drop it and it just automatically just goes in. There's no having to set it, nothing. It just automatically sets. So just a tiny little bit of weight right there in the tip. But other than that, it works real well. But you do have to buy the chain, recommended anywhere from 3 to 5 feet of chain. And then on this one, I also have a Danik hook, which means I can adjust the anchor line to whatever length I want it to be. And then now, lastly, we come to the Wave RX triangle anchors. 2 different sizes. These guys are fairly new to the scene, but they are making some great products. So once again, they're all stainless steel. These are not aluminum. These are all stainless steel, which means they are heavy and they are beefy. I mean beefy. But once again, you also have the trade-off of it's a true drop and forget anchor. You know, once it goes in, it starts to set and it's done. It is not going anywhere. So I would say there's only one downside to this anchor, and that is you have to assemble it. So it's not a true just pull it out of your ski and drop it and leave. You do have to assemble it. And it's all right here. It's just one pin, this pin right here. What you do is you push it down, the whole thing will collapse down and will go into a carrying case so it's not banging around, you know, the inside of your ski and really mucking up your ski. But what I have found is that this pin probably could use a little bit of marine grease just to keep the action you know, nice and free, and you're not struggling with this pin. Both anchors have it. Both anchors are exactly the same. They both have that pin. This smaller one is probably more geared towards a jet ski. This bigger one is probably geared towards, you know, a Sea-Doo switch or maybe even a pontoon boat. I guarantee it'll hold a pontoon boat. However, that's pretty much these anchors, and I 100%, I mean, these work. These are true drop and forget. You just have to assemble it first, and then disassemble it whenever you get ready to pull off. So I know there's some concerns with a few anchors as far as spikes, and you know, this one, you know, the Sand Shark, when you're out walking around, yes, it has spikes that tip up. Same thing with the grappling style, they have spikes that'll be sticking up. The Wave RX, same thing, they have spikes that stick up. So in order to be safe about it when you're out at the sandbar or whatever, there are basically anchor markers that you can put on, and you can use really anything, but I mean anything from this right here, which is nothing more than a styrofoam pill, and you put a little line to it, attach it to the anchor, let it float, and that way it lets people know that there's an anchor down below to watch your feet, you know, especially with spikes sticking up. Don't really have to do that with the Blue Cooper or any of the sand spikes. There's no real danger of cutting your foot or anything on those. And then lastly, I will say that when it comes to anchors, and this goes to just about any anchor out there, use a bungee cord. Use a bungee cord in conjunction with a regular line. If you want to have a longer anchor line, put a bungee cord in between. The bungee cord takes out the shock that the anchor will feel just due to wave action or boat wakes or whatever's going on. You're not constantly yanking on the anchor. That bungee cord will take out that yanking action and will allow the anchor to stay in one place and basically not drag or anything, unless that bungee cord is stretched out to its max. Then it's just being a regular anchor line, and it will act as such. There'll be no more taking out the line shock of wave action. So as far as bungees, you can find them online real cheap. You can get them at Amazon. They come in two different lengths. So this one I think is about a 5 foot and a 7 foot or something like that. Wave RX has one. They sell one as well, and that one I believe is about a 10 foot. Now, don't quote me on those lengths and distances, but you know, once again, you know, the bungee cord is a must. Your anchor is only as good as the amount of force that you can reduce on it, and the bungee cord absolutely does that. So and one last thing I forgot to show, these are the carrying cases for the triangle anchors. So the big one goes in, you know, it's a nice little case, you know, plastic. It's got some foam padding on the inside, so you would fold it down, it fits in this case, goes right into the front of your ski. The smaller triangle anchor, it's a little bit beefier case. I kind of like it. It's kind of like a Pelican case, but same thing. It's got some foam padding on the inside. Fold it down, toss it in the case, throw it in your ski. No issues with it banging around or mucking up the inside of your ski. So that is pretty much the review on all these anchors. I've hit just about every style you could possibly think of. Hopefully this information between this video and my first video that I did has covered all questions on anchoring and, you know, just basically which anchor works best. If you have any questions, just go ahead, drop it down into the comments, or shoot me a personal message. I'll try and answer your question the best that I can. But yeah, this is anchoring 101, you know, for jet skis, you know, which is best. So hope you guys ride safe, and see you out on the water.